Hi guys, this is Bill from TFL Chat Room, and I just wanted to do a volume price analysis session here with Apple stock. Down here on my screen, I have a volume tool, and I use this volume tool versus the one that is here inside of the charts because it has these the actual amounts of the volume over here, and it helps me determine what's average, above average, way above average, way below average. You can tell that by looking at the bars, but I do like to see the numbers here. Over here is a volume profile tool. This volume profile tool over here specifically is designed to see how where a volume is the highest at certain price points. And this tool, the way I'm using it here, will just be whatever, it will reflect the volume on whatever price on the whole chart. You can do one by day, or you can actually do them fixed. And the way you get that is go here, look at volume profile. I think you have to be a Pro Plus, which I am, but you have to be Pro Plus in order to use this specific indicator. So I have that on here, and then I just have price and volume. And so if you look at this, the greatest volume on Apple has really been down here at this $13 price. I don't know exactly when, but obviously back here between these two dates, if you go back even further, volume was greater way down here. We're not going to worry about that with regards to price. So I'm going to bring it up somewhere. This is a weekly. I'm going to bring it up to somehow around this swing low right here and see what happens. So it's just at this swing low and below. What I thought would be the most volume here based on this consolidation here and there is not necessarily true. And this I've been finding in volume price analysis that these swing lows are not necessarily where the volume is. And if you look here, there was between this point and this point and this point is where the highest volume has been since June, essentially end of May, beginning of June of 2011. So an important level for this instrument, Apple stock, very important level. And one thing to note on here is at this level, when we broke above it, you see this green candle right here that broke above on maybe average volume, and you see this candle broke above on what looks like higher than average volume. That turns out to be very important as we look at this volume profile tool, how price moves across this volume profile line right here, whether high volume or low volume, huge impact. And this had such a big impact that it was able to break this swing high and move forward to get to the high of almost $134 or 134 and a half. So I want to narrow in to try and find out where price is going from here. Currently, it's at 99 bucks approximately, and I want to find out, try and determine where it may be going. So I'm going to bring in my volume profile tool. I know this line is here, this black line is here, so I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer to maybe this swing low down here, and really right before it. So if I look, I still see my volume profile tool. It's still down here. So this is in a very important place right now, actually, price is, just based on these swing lows right here. Now, you would think maybe most of the volume would be actually at the swing low, but it's not. There is some. The highest volume is right here, at this line right here. And I have this line over here based on this volume here, and I drew some of these black lines and green lines earlier. We can just get rid of them for right now. They're not part of this analysis. But I want to focus on this area here, this swing high. With this swing high had relatively low volume, at least definitely was not the highest volume area since June of 2014. So if price does go up, I don't think it's going to have a hard time getting past this swing high here. But I think it will have a hard time getting past this area. You could see the support here, and now it dropped below it a little bit, and it's coming back up here. So as we go into this deeper, this really just gives us areas to look at that are going to be hard to get past just because of the volume that was represented there at this price. So now I want to dig in deeper and look at just this last little bit of low here, since this swing high happened in April, sometime in April of 2015, I want to start looking at my volume here on these weeks and see if we can determine anything. Obviously, we see this is a downtrend since then. I want to look at where volume has spiked and peaked and where it has gone up and down. So I'm just going to do a little bit of quick analysis, look at some high volume areas. Let me move this out of the way. This is a high volume area on a red candle. Now, one of the things I've learned about in volume price analysis is this kind of effort to cause and effect area. So in order for, when there's a lot of volume, you would expect to see a lot of movement. A lot of volume and a little bit of movement, or a little volume and a lot of movement, those are anomalies. So those are things that we definitely want to pay attention to in volume price analysis. So I look at this and I see not a huge move. It is a big candle, and it has a wick on the bottom and on the top. There's a lot of volume here. So I would say that the buyers tried to come in here, but were not very successful, as this is a red candle. So we keep going down. I look at this, and this is a huge candle up, but it result came from a huge gap down. So again, just something to pay attention here. You see on this move down, this is our second biggest area of volume right here. So this is why we moved off of here. This is our biggest area of volume up here. And this becomes important when you look at this shooting star candle right there. So I want to keep looking. One thing I notice here on these pullbacks, this move down, you could just see it is on increasing volume. This pullback is on, in general, decreasing volume. Now we have this move down on increasing volume. We have this pullback on decreasing volume. We have this move up here on decreasing volume. And this most recent move up here, these last 3 weeks, on decreasing volume. So I'm going to look at this same time period from April of 2015, and I'm going to switch over to a daily chart. So here we are. Here's over here, April. Here's what we were just looking at from the weekly chart. You see our volume price analysis tool over here tells us where these high volume areas are. Here's another one here. This wasn't on the weekly chart, but it is on the daily. And then here, this one was represented in the weekly chart as well. And so I go in here to learn more about volume and how price is moving on Apple over the last several months, year, a little over a year, and see kind of the same story. As we're moving down here, we got increasing volume. As we're moving up, we have decreasing volume. As we're moving down, we have some increasing volume, especially on these big red legs here. Those are very important to see on these solid body candles, big volume. Let's take, for example, here, this little pullback. Look at this little pullback here, and then look at volume down here. Incredible to see this on a chart. And then as soon as you see a down move, volume picks up. To me, this means that this move down is sustainable. Now, it may not be, but it's what price and volume is telling us. We have a gap down, presumably at earnings here on big volume. One thing I have read about, and I'm learning that what causes the move down is not as important as the move down itself. In this case, and with stocks, it's earnings. In Forex, we know it's news, interest rate decisions, things like that. The market makers will use that information to move some price down. And one of the things to look for is when price makes a big move without the volume. There's no volume, that means people are not getting in on that move, and it's a fixed or a fake out in a lot of times. So again, we have this move up, but generally low volume. We have this move down, including this gap, again, presumably at earnings, on huge volume. And so then we have this move back up on decreasing volume. Now we have this move down on some increasing volume. And now again, we're right here. We have this move up on decreasing volume. It's at the end of this move that I really want to focus on, because one of the things that happened here, again, this is our greatest volume. So this is the greatest this price at 96.54 approximately, when we pass through this on this green candle right here, it came with pretty decent volume. I don't know if this volume is enough to get us past this swing high. This swing high in this area here really happened with low volume over here. So if we get past this area, this volume push may be enough to get us past this area, but it may not. So I'm going to dive into this leg right here and see if we can get some clues on a smaller time frame. One of the time frames I like to use with stocks is 195 minutes, which I don't see here. It's kind of a 4 hour, but not really. It is for stocks because of the way the time starts. So we're going to go to this leg up. This was our leg up on the daily that we saw before. And we look at where the highest amount of volume was. This makes sense to this candle here. This was the candle we were last looking at on the daily. And this happened again on higher volume. This leg up here on decreasing volume. This punch up here on increasing volume. I think this is very important. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see if we can see anything else. This leg up on decreasing volume. Even this big green candle here on the hourly came on decreasing volume. It's the second hour of the day, so you can say that was arguable. But if we didn't move up with this is lower effort, but a lot of movement here. I'm not sure that this movement is going to be enough to push it past a certain level. And sure enough, if you just look back over here, we get to this point and it wasn't enough. And so we get to this area here of consolidation on low volume. We might be thinking time for a turn, and there is. So here's a gap down on a big red candle with high volume. So as we go, we get some more consolidation. We have this hammer on a big volume. To me, this would indicate that we might start going lower, especially with this green candle here on a little bit less of a volume. And then we have another green candle here on even less volume. I'm not sure this move up is sustainable. Of course, we see this now, but we didn't see this then. So I don't know if we can get past this point. It's not telling me, this volume analysis and price analysis is not telling me that we can get past this point yet. So as you go on, you see this big green on high volume. So you think, okay, this one is good. This may be the one that tells me we can sustain this little up move here. It's possible. So we have this pullback on lower volume. I like that. Then we have another move up. It's a gap up that takes us past this high on higher volume. I like that. Consolidation, lower volume. I like that. Another green candle on higher volume. At this point, I think we can still go up higher. Of course, we see that we can to the right, but pretend we don't. Here we have a pullback on lower volume. This is a hammer, and it's on high volume. So this move up is telling me, not so sure. We might be slowing down. And so we go into this period of consolidation for a few days. This is more than just 1 day of consolidation. And so sure enough, we are slowing down. So I'm going to look for volume and price here to tell me something, that we're either going to go back up and this is just a short rest, or this is going to be a turn and we're really not going to get much further past this point over here. So I start looking. I see this hammer, which was my initial indicator, and I see this volume here on another hammer. So I'm thinking we are weakening. We're going to continue to weaken. This is my thought process. And then I see these red candles here on decreasing volume. When I see price going down on decreasing volume, I'm not sure how much more down it's going to go. If this was going down on increasing volume, I would say, okay, we have a chance to keep going down further. But since volume is decreasing, and now we have this hammer, which is kind of a short candle on even less volume down here. I have this move up here, this green candle on increasing volume, this red one on decreasing volume. So we are really consolidating here, and I need to see something that's going to tell me one way or the other. I am thinking based on these two and this hammer and the volume associated with it, that this is just a pullback. Easy to say when you could see what price does. Here we have something that proves that it was just a pullback, a big green candle on high volume. We have consolidation here on lower. Now this is what's telling me I think this whole move is starting to peter out. We have this somewhat of a doji candle here on very high volume. You could see this is about the second, really, or third highest place on this chart on the volume profile tool. This candle right here tells me we're going to rest from this move here. Now it may not, of course. We have consolidation on lower volume over the last day. This was Friday's trading session. So my analysis is that we are going to rest from here, from this point here. If I was trading at all, I would go short Apple. And then I would target maybe this next volume area down here, 97.36 or in 97.50, somewhere in this area here. That's a $1.25. That's not a bad trade. Your stops would go up here somewhere. Again, looking at volume over the next candles, you would see that. Now, where does this help me on the big picture? If we scroll out a little bit, go back to the daily, I am thinking, and again, remember the daily is at a pretty important point right here with regards to this volume profile analysis tool. And so I am thinking on the daily here that we had this move up on lower volume. This candle here came on Thursday with higher volume. And then we had this flat candle on a little bit less of volume. Based on what happened on this day and that doji, I would say again, my thought is that we are going to go back down into this into this high volume area here and see what happens on the daily as we progress through this area here. I'm going to watch price and volume and see what happens. If we have a big move up on high volume, my thought is that Apple would be going back to this area here where we have this higher volume. If we have a move down here on bigger volume, my thought was that Apple would be going down. If you look at this area right here on Apple, not associated with a lot of volume. I don't think that it would be too much to say Apple would break this 89 area. And once you get past this area, you don't have much volume until you get up here either. I think getting past this area is going to be harder than getting past this area. Of course, we're in a downtrend. That's easy to say. We don't know what's going to happen. My thought, again, based on what happened on Friday and that doji on high volume, is that we're going to take a break, we're going to rest a little bit, and then I'm going to watch for price and volume. Again, this last leg up on the daily, it's been on decreasing volume, meaning to me, it's not strong, it's weak. So as Apple moves forward, I will watch the combination of price and volume and kind of see what happens. This has been very helpful for me to walk through this, and I hope it's been helpful for you. Thanks.